Imagine standing at a crossroads. Two paths stretch ahead, each leading to vastly different outcomes. What do? Do you rush forward with emotion, choosing the first path that seems easiest? Or do you pause, reflect, and ask yourself, is this the wisest decision I can make? In today's fast-paced world, we're bombarded with choices, often pressured to act quickly. But what if I told you there's an ancient philosophy that teaches us how to slow down, think clearly, and make better decisions? Welcome to the Stoics Guide on how to think before you act, an approach that's as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Stoicism, an ancient Greek philosophy, may seem outdated at first glance, but its principles are more applicable today than ever. With roots going back to figures like Seneca, Epictetus, and the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism teaches us how to live virtuously and navigate life with calm wisdom. At its core, it's about mastering your reactions, understanding what is within your control, and most importantly, thinking before acting. In this video, we'll explore how Stoicism can help you make better decisions, avoid impulsive mistakes, and live a life of purpose and clarity. Let's dive in. The first lesson from Stoicism is simple but powerful: pause. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This simple reminder highlights the importance of slowing down and questioning your motives before taking action. When you're faced with a decision, especially one driven by emotion, whether it's anger, excitement, or fear, pause. Take a step back and ask yourself, is this the right thing to do? Will this decision align with my values and long-term goals? This pause creates space to reflect, to breathe, and to detach from the intensity of the moment. It's in this space that wisdom grows. When I was a child, I once touched a hot iron, ignoring my mother's warning not to. Why? Because I acted impulsively. It's a mistake I'll never forget, and one that left a scar on my hand and my mind. Looking back, it wasn't just about the pain. It was about realizing that acting without thinking can have lasting consequences. And while we might not be touching hot irons as adults, we often make hot iron decisions, quick, emotional choices that lead to regret. Stoicism teaches us that by practicing the pause, we can avoid these painful outcomes. One of the central tenets of Stoicism is recognizing what is within your control and what isn't. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of Stoicism's greatest teachers, famously said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." When we face difficult decisions, it's easy to get overwhelmed by things beyond our control. Will other people approve of our choices? What if things don't go as planned? Stoicism reminds us to focus on our own thoughts, our own actions, and our own attitudes. Everything else, other people's opinions, external events, outcomes, is out of our control. By narrowing our focus to what we can influence, we reduce anxiety and make decisions with greater clarity. Instead of wasting energy on things we can't change, we direct it toward the actions and thoughts we can. Another misconception about Stoicism is that it encourages suppressing emotions. This couldn't be further from the truth. Stoics don't reject emotions. They accept them, but they don't allow emotions to control their actions. Seneca, the Roman Stoic, wrote extensively on anger, noting that while anger is natural, it can cloud our judgment. The key is not to suppress or ignore our feelings, but to acknowledge them without letting them dictate our decisions. When faced with an emotional reaction, whether it's excitement, fear, or anger, the Stoic approach is to observe it, understand its source, and then decide rationally. Your emotions are real, but they aren't necessarily reliable guides for decision-making. Take Marcus Aurelius as an example. As emperor, he faced constant threats of war, plague, and political instability. It would have been easy to react with fear or anger, but Marcus trained himself to detach from these overwhelming emotions. In his journal, Meditations, Marcus often reminded himself to see things as they are, without letting emotions skew his perspective. By detaching, he could make wiser, calmer decisions, even in the heat of war. One of the most practical tools the Stoics used to sharpen their decision-making was journaling. Both Marcus Aurelius and Seneca kept personal journals where they reflected on their actions, thoughts, and lessons learned. This wasn't just about recording events, it was about internalizing wisdom. By writing down your thoughts, especially before making a big decision. You can step outside of the heat of the moment and view things more objectively. It's a practice that helps you assess your emotions, motivations, and the potential consequences of your actions. At the heart of Stoic decision-making are the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Every action, every choice we make should align with these virtues. Wisdom helps us understand what is good and bad. Courage pushes us to do what is right, even when it's hard. Justice ensures that our actions are fair and benefit the greater good. And temperance reminds us to practice self-control and moderation. Before you act, ask yourself, does this decision align with these virtues? If not, you might need to reconsider. The Stoics understood that life is full of challenges and choices, many of which are outside our control. But what we can control is how we think and how we act. By practicing the principles of Stoicism, pausing before acting, focusing on what's within our control, managing emotions, and living by virtue, we can navigate life's complexities with wisdom and clarity. So the next time you're faced with a tough decision, remember the words of Epictetus. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Think before you act. That's the Stoic way. If you found value in this video, consider subscribing and joining our journey towards wisdom and clarity. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay calm, and stay stoic.